like an hour early for Take a Tip Tuesday. Oh, I know why, because it's about naked ownership. You little devil. Hi, my name is Christina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, providing you the best real estate tips with a dash of humor. And this week we're talking about naked ownership. It's one of those things here in Louisiana that's hard and complicated and a little difficult to understand, but I have a special guest this week that is going to be helping me explain to you what it means to have naked ownership here in Louisiana. So let me go ahead and introduce you now.
Hey, I'm Paul Rabelais. I'm an estate planning attorney based primarily out of Baton Rouge, and so we help ordinary families just get and keep their affairs in order, make things simple for the family, and avoid lots of estate problems other families face.
So what does naked ownership really mean here in Louisiana? Can you tell us more, Paul?
Yeah, it's funny, it's the word naked and naked ownership. It kind of frightens some people, but naked ownership, it's a Louisiana only term. It's a form of ownership. The most common area where we see naked ownership is in the area of married couples. Oftentimes one spouse dies, and either because the deceased spouse had or didn't have a will, they perhaps left their surviving spouse what's called the usufruct, and saying something like, I'm going to let my spouse use my assets, but when my spouse dies, I want those assets to revert back to the naked owners, and so which are typically the children of the first spouse to die.
Paul, what happens if a family member decides they want to contest the usufruct? The kids can't just kick the mom out of the house, right?
Yeah, that's a common question. A lot of married couples are worried about, boy, if my spouse dies before me, or are our kids or are my spouse's kids going to be able to kick me out because I have usufruct and they are naked owners? Well, it depends on the term of the usufruct. So it depends on the deceased spouse's will. Typically, though, it's not common for the naked owners to be able to kick a usufructuary out of the house. Although in many cases, the usufruct, the surviving spouse's usufruct, terminates when they remarry. So if they do remarry, the naked owners then become the owners of the deceased spouse's share. So it depends on the terms of the usufruct and of the naked ownership.
Well, what happens if you have a living trust? Why is that important?
Yeah, these days you see a lot of families, a lot of couples form what's called a revocable living trust for a couple of reasons. Typically the biggest reason is that if a husband and wife own assets in their name, whether they have a will or not, there's going to be a court proceeding when that first spouse dies, actually when each spouse dies. And many people perceive that as expensive and a hassle and time consuming, dealing with the government and all the bureaucracy involved. So a lot of families and couples avoid that back-end court and attorney involvement by putting their home in a trust. Things in a trust don't have to go through the probate or court proceeding when you pass away. So that's a different way to do it. It eliminates all the complications of usufruct and naked ownership and simplifies the settlement of the estate by keeping the settlement of it out of the court system.
Oh, is there anything else you want people to know about naked ownership and usufruct and all that stuff?
Yeah, just realize it's a Louisiana only thing, so you're not going to be able to research or find anything about naked ownership in any of the national publications, national journals. I'll just mention real quick, I wrote a book called Estate Planning in Louisiana, and there's a whole chapter. In fact, one of the chapters is called What is a Usufruct? And by the way, that word gets butchered in so many different ways, but whenever you have naked ownership, it's ownership subject to someone having the use or the usufruct of it. So those two terms go hand in hand, usufruct and naked ownership. Just know that it's a Louisiana thing. But there's lots of other videos and kind of Louisiana written material on it if you want to know more.
Hold on a minute. People want to watch more videos. You have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to it. Why don't you tell people what your YouTube channel is?
Oh yeah, we have a YouTube channel and work hard on it, trying to keep the community educated. You can search Rabelais Estate Planning, LLC, and so far we've done hundreds of videos, many of which on this naked ownership and usufruct form of ownership, and you can watch to your heart's delight.
I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description to Paul's channel and his book that he was talking about earlier. If you want to know more about buying and selling your home, you can go ahead and click the little blocks right here. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week I'm going to tell you all about hiring a real estate agent here in Louisiana and some great tips on doing that. My name is Christina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because you matter.